Hey, Avi, his daughter. This is Aaron Spencer 30, and tonight I figured I would sit down and make a response video to your video of Hanukkah, simply because you mentioned my name in the video, and I feel like it's my right to defend myself. Now, uh, number one, I know that you're not a Catholic. I know you're not a Muslim. Okay, I know what you are because number one, I live in the same area you live in, East Tennessee, and I've probably been to the same churches you or synagogues or whatever you want to call it you've been to. You either go to so-called Rabbi Joe Bell's congregation that used to meet in his manna bagel shop, but now has a church in Bristol called Lion of Judah. Uh, and just a little side note, he's not really a rabbi, an ordained rabbi. He's actually an ordained minister. Uh, but that's on a side note. Or you either go to Matthew Miller's Vineyard of Yahweh, which has moved itself 3 different times now for some reason. And I do know Matthew Miller because I used to go to the Manna Bagel shop with him on Saturday mornings to attend the Lion of Judah. Or you go to Pastor Brett Fiddler's congregation that meets in a Methodist little chapel called Congregation Beth Shalom. So I know what you believe in, okay? And I'm just going to go ahead and lay this out on the table. Whoever's been talking behind my back, tell them I don't appreciate it, and tell them why don't they be a man or a woman and come tell me to my face how they really feel about me. Just like I did when I used to go to those congregations, I told the people exactly how I felt, and that's one reason why I quit going. Now, on to you about being a Protestant. In my opinion, yes, you are a Protestant. Now, the reason why I believe that is because I'm going to read you the definition of a Protestant out of the World Book Encyclopedia Dictionary. And it says right here, you can look it up. If you don't believe me, look it up. Protestant, a member of any one of certain Christian churches not governed by the Roman Catholic Church or the Eastern Church, such as those that split off from the Roman Catholic Church during the Reformation of the 1500s or developed thereafter. Lutherans, Baptists, Presbyterians, Methodists, Unitarians, Quakers, and many others are Protestants. Okay? So, if you're not a Catholic, you're a Protestant. I don't care if you call yourself a Messianic believer, a Messianic Jew, a Hebrew roots believer, a Hebraic movement believer, whatever you want to call yourself, you're still Protestant according to that definition, okay? Because you basically almost believe the same things that, the Lutherans and the Baptists believe, because if you ask me, a lot of Messianic believers are nothing more than, Baptists dressed up in, Jewish costume. But that's my opinion. Now, on to the subject of Hanukkah. I believe that if you're going to talk about something, lay it all open on table. Tell the whole story. Don't just, give your version of it. Okay? So tonight I'm going to share with you and the rest of the YouTube the real story about Hanukkah that you did not say in your video. Because in my opinion, you're pushing your indoctrination on people. Now, I'm glad you mentioned the scripture, okay, about Hanukkah. Now, the only scripture that can be found, like you said, is in John chapter 10, verse 22 and 23. And I'll be reading from the Companion Bible by Dr. Bullinger, very excellent translation, very good scholar. And it's also, King James. And it says here, And it was at Jerusalem, the feast of the dedication, and it was winter. And Jesus walked in the temple and Solomon's porch. Okay? That's it. Okay? It doesn't say that it was a commandment of the Lord. It doesn't say it's a feast of the Lord. It doesn't say how they were celebrating it. Okay? It doesn't say Jesus was celebrating it. It just says that he was there at that time. Okay? Now, here's what Dr. Bullinger says in his footnotes about this verse. Okay? Feast of dedication. And the Greek word Kainos means new, i.e., the cleansing of Ezra's temple after its defilement by Antigonus Epiphanes, 25th Chislev, which is December in Hebrew, year 164 BC. And it's got the scripture reference, 1 Maccabees, chapter 4, verse 52 and 59. Now, most Bibles do not have 1 Maccabees in it, which is part of the Apocrypha. Now, why is that? Well, if you just do a simple Google research on that, and you can go to Wikipedia's page, and it says that the British Society, Bible Society, took it out in I think 1850. They said that they would no longer have any more funds to print the Apocrypha. Okay? So if you're, just a mainstream average Christian reading this in the New Testament, there's no scripture reference, okay, and somebody talks about Hanukkah, they're going to go, where's it at? Okay, it's not in the Old Testament, it's not in the New Testament. The only scripture reference for it is in 1 Maccabees, which 9 times out of 10, most Christians never even heard that book, so they're not going to know what you're talking about, okay? But let's go to, and that's the reason why I said what I said to you earlier in the comments, that actually if you read the Bible, that there's no mention of Christmas or Hanukkah unless you believe that 1 Maccabees is scripture. Okay? Now, let's go to 1 Maccabees, and I'll be reading out of the New Jerusalem Bible. It's a Catholic study Bible translation. Very good translation also. I recommend it to people. And it has the books of the Apocrypha in it, which includes 1 Maccabees. And here's what it says in verse 59, okay? Because this is the most important scripture that I want to talk about tonight. It says, Judas, now this is Judas Maccabees, Judas with his brothers and the whole assembly of Israel made it a law. Who made it a law? Judas, Maccabees, and the elders of Israel. Okay, it doesn't say that it was commandment of the Lord. It doesn't say, thus saith the Lord. Okay? Let's go on. Made it a law that the days of the dedication of the altar should be celebrated yearly at the proper season for 8 days beginning on the 25th of the month of Chislev, with rejoicing and gladness. It doesn't say, but it does not say how to celebrate it. It just says celebrate it. Now, I understand why Jewish people and Israeli people celebrate Hanukkah. Okay? I understand that. Okay? Because it's tradition. Okay? But me, and 9 times out of 10 you, are Gentiles. That has nothing to do with us. Okay? Now, if that had something to do with us, don't you think that somewhere in the New Testament, either Jesus or Paul or Peter or any other disciples would have said, okay, this is, you need to, like in the book of Acts, chapter 15, where James and all of them are having a meeting about what to do with these Gentile new believers coming into the church. What do we tell them? What do we, I'm paraphrasing here, but they said, what do we tell them? What are they supposed to do? And if you read in there, it gives 4 laws or commandments that us Gentiles should keep and do. Don't eat anything with blood. Keep yourself from sexual immorality. Okay? Don't eat anything strangled. Okay? Why didn't the apostles and them say, hey, they need to celebrate the Feast of Sukkot. They need to celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles. They need to celebrate the Feast of Hanukkah. They need to start wearing tzitzit. They need to start wearing yarmulkes. They need to start keeping Shabbat. They need to start saying the name Yahweh. Okay? Doesn't say that. Doesn't say nowhere in the New Testament does it say that. Okay? And that's one of the reasons why I left the so-called Messianic movement. Because if you ask me, it's a joke. But that's just my opinion. But anyway, this video is almost 11 minutes long, and I'm going to go ahead and shut it down and go to bed. But hey, if you got any more videos to make about me, hey, if you think I'm wrong, send me a video, send me a comment, and we'll discuss this like adults, okay? That's what adults do. Adults don't just type something or make a video and say, well, that's it. I don't want to hear nobody else's opinion, or, basically when you cut comments off people and block people, and don't allow people to respond to your videos, to me it's very arrogant. What you're saying is, well, my opinion's right, you're wrong, haha. Okay? That's not very adult. So if you think I'm wrong, prove it to me. Okay? Appreciate it.